overwhelming. Thank you, Mentor TJ. I think for this overwhelming and to me, I'm humbled in terms of this invitation. And as you know, this topic is very, very close to my heart. And because in my venturing out in my conventional business and all that, I met a lot of leaders, great leaders of the world, and in terms of India respective industries, especially in my technology world and the business world, right? So and I think if we look at the whole entire because when you are working, when you're or you're right, it's always a tendency you like something is not right, that kind of thing. So we can see in terms of the whole approach. Tell people to maybe take two step back and start asking ourselves, why do we want to lead? Right? You must lead with a purpose. So today's topic to me, I mean, some of you already bought the book many months ago, and this book in a simple book is just what is called is something like in the Malay context, right? It's like it's like a mandate, right? Or in the Malay context is mandat, in terms of you, because you believe there is something bigger than yourself. In other words, you are giving something or delivering something to people or to community, and this means so much more than yourself, right? If you don't have this, then sometimes we are leading for the sake of leading, right? To me, like for us as army officers, right, we are trained to when we took the sword from the president, right, and when we actually received the sword from our president, we know that we actually have to put the country above us, right, above our family, above everything. In other words, we already sell ourselves and say that, like, look, we will die for the country, right? Same thing. If you are leading an organization, when there's trouble, means you will be the first person to face it, rather than to push your subordinates and all that to face it. So in the army, we always to care for all our sergeants and all that other specialists, so that because we are trained in our core values, we to lead, to excel, and to overcome. So this is actually the first pillar. In other words, the calling, right? You are compelled to do something which is more important than yourself. It's really for the society, for your nation, or for your organization. That is actually the first pillar of leadership, which is calling. Number two, right? So if you look at number two, so listening. If you can listen, right? If you can, the tendency when you become a boss, when you become a leader, you like to talk because you are a good speaker, right? Right. But if, let's say, if you keep on talking without listening, then you will not be able to understand your subordinate, right, or your team, right? Because it is so difficult to help them because you are not in the listening mode, right? So listening is an art. Listening is something very, very powerful. The day you can start to listen, I think people will start to talk, right? The day you keep on talking, then people will listen, right? It's only one way. So it's good for you to talk, but you need to have those moments where you just zip up and just listen, right? There are a lot of things they want to share with you so that you can understand them better, then you can serve them better, right? That is leadership. It's not just about you giving people direction and let them do and all that. No, it's about listening to people and making them better, right? Guide them, lead them to where they want to go. So we talk about the third pillar, empathy. So sometimes it's very easy because you are at the top, right? So you just pass down instruction and you assume that everything is, but if without empathy, if let's say now you're running a company and someone come to you and say that, look, my mother is sick, right? We can always say that, yeah, I also have my mother also sick. You know, that kind of thing. So you are not sick, it's your mother that is sick, you know, that kind of thing. So this was what happened in the military as well. I remember when you know, right, in the military we cannot book out easily, right, unless it's an emergency or whatsoever. So we've been trained like that, so in terms of that. So but when we come into the reality of world where we will try to understand that, you know, everyone have their own perspective, and what we need to do is actually to borrow their spectacles and wear their spectacles to see from their eyes, right? Then we can feel them, right? If you do not have the empathy, you will always see from your spectacle, you will always see from your lenses, so you will not be able to empathize people. The tension, because you know what, sorry lah, I'm I'm the, you know, I'm the leader, I'm the CEO, you know, you're not happy, you can go, you know, that kind of thing. So this is something that have to change if you really want to build a very harmonious team, right? Because our mind may not be able to empathize, right? But our mind is always naughty, yeah. The cheeky one is always our mind, but the one that can empathize is our heart, right? So our heart need to be the sponge, right? To listen, to sponge all their problems, right? Not to get distracted, but to understand. People perform better when they are happy. People cannot perform, right, when something just happened back home, right? I had you know, one of my senior consultant came to me, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, and the girlfriend wanted to break up with him, and he couldn't perform. He couldn't perform. I bought him coffee. We went down for coffee. Then I said, "Hey, Marcus, you are not yourself. What's going on?" They say, "Oh," then you just say, "Lah, boss. No, small problem." I said, "No. I mean, you want to share?" I said, "Look, don't treat me like a boss, right?" So he said that, "Malu lah, paise lah, you know, want to share this kind of thing. It's my girlfriend, you know." Then I said, "Look," I said, "You are a performer. You are a great consultant, right? So I know when you are don't when you're not performing, something is distracting you. You just tell me. If it's very sensitive, just give me a gist. If you need a break, you go for the break. Then you will come back and bounce back. Don't worry, right?" And really, he said that really he was on the verge of breakup. So he loved the girlfriend so much. So I gave him a 3-day break. He went 3 days to settle. I said that these 3 days you do nothing but attend to your girlfriend. Right? So best definition of success is really about going ahead with the people you love, not winning everything you want and you turn around, there's nothing behind, right? So healing. So as a leader, right, you must be able to narrate to their stories, right? Whatever I mean, to change. They narrate their stories. Sorry, they narrate their stories. You want to change the storyline for them because you've been through quite a bit, right? They are your junior, they are learning, they haven't done business, they want to start learn business. So you are like what Abang Taha said, like, you know, you are the compass to them, right? You are their compass, right? So you need to adjust things on this. So that healing touch is very important because they are stuck, you know, when they have problem, your subordinate or your team members, when they are problem, it's difficult for them to unbox, you know, and come out and say that okay, don't worry, Coach Am, don't worry, Mentor TJ, don't worry. It's not like that, right? It's always when they're stuck in the problem, the tendency of them stick in you know, to get stuck in the box is very high. So it's our healing touch, right? Being able to understand their issues, their problems and all that, and show them, look, this is the way to do it, right? You try this method and you try. If cannot, you come back, we discuss and how to overcome. And that is actually the healing touch of a servant leader. All right. So let's go to the fifth one. We talk about awareness. So it is important. All right, this is go back to 2011 again, because that it was an expensive thing. It happened to me twice, right? My turning point in my life is 2002. Then another 9 years later is 2011, right? 2002, I was shocked because I love my wife so much, but she asked for the divorce for the eighth time. So is that success, right? You have five-figure income, but you don't have a wife, you don't have a family, right? So because you are so engrossed in your in your world, right? So being aware, or having the awareness, is to understand things are not right. So once in a while, like now, even now, my wife is telling me that I'm overworking. I'm alone and I'm still overworking. I'm spending a lot of my time, but what else can I do? Because I'm alone here. I just think that, okay, I should spend my time productively. That's the thing. So remember that awareness is important in leadership. In other words, you see how Messi played football, right? He just walk around and study the game. Then after that, you see he does his magic, right? And we need to be like that, right? Because like I said, it happened to me in 2002. It happened to me in 2011. I was so engrossed in my business world. I turned around, my family wasn't there. So that's not success, right? And I don't want that anymore. All right. So number 6, the pillar, persuasion, eh? So persuasion is actually your role. Like I said, is not to tell people go for it, go for it. No, it's or just direct them. So no, this is your target, go for it. That no, you actually have to encourage them to help them steer their steering wheel, right? So that they are going to the direction, yes, right, but they are actually going with the best of them. All right, that is persuasion. What instruction is different. Persuasion is that telling your team and say that, don't worry, man, you will fall 3 times, that you're gonna enjoy the fall. You're gonna fall 4 or 5 times, but if you do this, maybe you're gonna fall 1 time or 2 times, right? That is actually persuasion. So we do not have to agree with their approach, because some every one of us have different personality, right? Have different. So that to tell them is so that they reach their destination, maybe with their approach. So you just tell them that, okay, careful of this, these loopholes, these holes, all that you have to take care, because if not, you will end up in trouble, right? That is number 6, the art of persuasion, right? Number 7, foresight. So foresight is very much the ability to predict and understand that everything you act on, right? Basically, you need to understand there's an impact, right? So if you do not have a foresight, you will just do blindly, right? You need to understand. That's why I said you start everything, every business, everything that you do with your end game in mind. Then you will never stop, right? And that is leadership, right? But if you say that, okay lah, then when it comes to rain, when it comes to COVID issues, people talking about negative things, you are distracted. So our spirit actually speaks for us. So we have gone through a lot. What we need to do now is to share this foresight. Once we share this foresight, our team receive it, right? That is actually, you are actually creating a nice path for them, right? Because they know, right? Tell them that you are looking at the Eiffel Tower, right? Focus on the Eiffel Tower, right? Focus on your foresight, on your goal, so that you will not be distracted. Oh no, the traffic jam is bad and all that, right? So just like when we started falling in love, right? When we see in Singapore, it's the block number and all that, we see we are happy and all that, because we don't see the problems, because our foresight or our aim is very clear, right? This is actually what. All right. Then we go into number 8, which is actually conceptualization. Okay. So we have our vision, we have our mission, right? So we need to articulate so that your team members, right, get motivated and they want to go with you, or they want to try it out, right? It's not about just stating a vision statement, mentioning a mission statement, and assume that people actually will understand and go. No, you need to articulate what is your vision. You need to articulate, because from there you know that, look, I want to have example, right, writers, right, in my team. By 2022 I want to have maybe 60 writers, right, 60 bookstore with me, that kind of thing, right? So it's okay for you to go slow, it's okay for you to go fast, because different all of us have different engagement, right? But we need to set that goal so that when you miss, you know that, okay, where go wrong and all that. So and we as business people, or as a leader, we are storyteller, right? We are storyteller, and when we start our storytelling and all that, people are being able to conceptualize, people are being able to visualize the process of reaching that outcome, right? That is actually about conceptualization. Otherwise, right, you know, okay, this is our goal, this is our target, right? But you are not articulating, yeah, or you right? So understand all this, because it sounds easy, but if you keep on reminding yourself of these 11 pillars, right, I think it's going to help a lot, right? Number 9, okay. I just want to ask yourself, who is willing to actually make coffee for your pantry lady? Right? So if you ever done that, give yourself a round of applause, right? So why? That is stewardship. The accountability and the commitment to lead extends beyond our people, right? And it's extending beyond the company, the community, or the planet. The stewardship, the humility of a leader, being able to serve. We don't have to talk much. We don't have to tell people, I'm your leader. Everybody knows that you are a leader, right? Because we are walking our talk. That's all, right? You do not have to make this the environment so that people have to idolize you and worship you and all that. No, people have feelings, people have eyes, people have ears. So all you need to do is to be sincere. Like I said, tomorrow meet the coffee lady, meet whoever so much lower rank than you, right? And maybe buy them coffee, right? And that is something, right? Just like at home, you don't have to wait for our wife to make us coffee. Once in a while, we make we make coffee for our wife, right? If you haven't done it, I tell you, I wasn't used to it when we just got married. When I was doing testing, if my wife called and all that, I will, what's my English? You cannot understand Malay, or you cannot understand English. What's so difficult? I'm very busy, that kind of thing. So, but all right. So this is group. Stewardship is the way to go, and stewardship is about humility. It's not about how high you are up there. It's about how low you can reach out to people. Yeah. So number 10, growth. Our single greatest success and accomplishment as a servant leader is to grow and develop and nurture our people. Remember, right? My staff, the same staff that I empathize and all that, left me and opened up a company, become my competitor. Sad, right? But if you are on a positive note, you look deeper into that situation, it's a success for me. I have groomed him to become my competitor. The only mistake he made, he burned the bridge, right? He didn't left with a high note. He left with a low note, right? He didn't left with a thank you. If he left with a thank you, my this current new project, $1 million project, I can actually still do with him, right? So you need to understand, you can talk until the cow come home, but if you are not interested with the growth of your team, then we are in trouble, right? I mean, Master Shiro is a classic example. He always want his authors and his advisors to grow, right? That is something that you actually have to embrace, that you have to appreciate, right? So then, the day, sometimes we think a lot. We think a lot, and the problem is, when we start to think a lot, we stop growing, right? Because we try to be perfect. We try to be perfect. So me, always tell people that, look, if you have done, example, right? If let's say you have sold 10 ebooks last month, right? If you make it 11 ebooks next month, that's a growth, right? But you need to give a pat on the back and say that, hey, Dr. Intan, wow, last month 100, wow, this month 110, right? And as a referrer, right, to Dr. Intan, for example, that is an example, right? Because why? You are actually concerned as a leader for the growth of your team, right? That's number 10. Then last is, remember, we are building a community. So what does community means? Community means you make you are the to everything. So your team culture still have full of respect, right? It's not about okay, immediately you prejudge people, immediately you mistrust people, immediately you just feel something bad. My style of leadership, right? I tell my team I will give the rope, the same length of rope to anyone. I'll give the same trust to anyone, right? But the same rope hang you if you betray my trust. Period. Right? So that is actually what I feel when we build a community. We welcome everybody. We trust everybody. We believe in everybody, but we wait for nobody. Right? So we build a community of passionate people heading to a common goal. If we can build that, like I told you, right? I've done many communities, right? And I enjoyed most is the multiracial communities. Because why? Because every single race come up with a global strength. That's what I see, right? That's all my sharing. All the good stuff actually come from the Almighty. Anything less come from me. With that, I pass back to the MC. Thank you so much.
Okay, there's one more. Didi. Didi. There's one more. Didi, are you in? Okay.
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Okay. Ken.